Hello and welcome back to Paintabilities. In this lesson we're going to continue working on our Multnomah Falls painting from a photograph, and today we're going to be addressing the bridge and starting to bring our foreground rock walls into place. So last lesson we created the rock wall in the background and we did the waterfall falling in the background. So if you need to go back and do that first, go back and watch that lesson and then come back here when you're ready and we'll pick back up with the bridge. Okay, so we're going to address this bridge, this iconic bridge going over Multnomah Falls, and then we're going to start to add our rock wall coming forward. Okay, so let's come down and we'll take a good look at this bridge. Here we go. Okay, so I have my colors all set from the last lesson. And the first thing I want to do is I need to get my background color in place on my bridge. Okay, now you can address this one of two ways. You can leave it light colored and add in a few of the dark spaces in between the uprights along the bridge. Or you can add in dark color and then, or you can put in dark color and then add the light on top, okay? And remember I shared with you in a previous lesson that just a little bit of detail will give the look of a lot more than what there is to see. So I'm going to start with a light background and we're going to add the dark in small amounts to create the look of those upright posts in the bridge. Okay, but first I want to get my bridge kind of set with its main structure pieces and then we will do that. Okay, so first thing I want to do is address the underneath part of the bridge that's kind of in the background and then bring everything else forward. So I'm going to put out, I have medium gray, licorice, and some Prussian blue and white, so that's all I really need. And then I'm going to get a smaller brush. So I'm going to grab a number 8 brush, okay, and get that damp. And I'm going to come and load this brush with a dark color. Now I don't want to use black because black is really strong, and we're going to address black more down here in the bottom. So I'm going to actually take some Prussian blue, which is a very dark blue. You can see the tone here as I spread it out, all right? And then I'm going to add some medium gray to that. And then a touch of licorice. You see that licorice just takes that right over. So I'm going to come back here and get some more Prussian blue and then pull from that blend that I just created. So that's the look that I'm going for. It's a dark shadow, which shadows tend to have blue tones to them in the outdoors. Okay, so that's the color I'm going to pull. So coming underneath this bridge, okay, I'm going to come right here and we're just going to go right over those uprights that were sketched in there from before, and we'll have to replace those. Okay, so, oh, you know what? I took away a little, or put in too much here, so let me back that out right there. I think I missed a line when I was tracing. There we go. This line that comes across here got accidentally left out. Okay, so I can come back in with my pencil just so to help you see it. It's going to be right here. That's this front trim piece, okay? And underneath that is where our dark color goes. All right, so right through here, and that's just the right color. It's got a little bit of a blue tint, but it's got that darker shadow color. All right, so this is going to come all the way over to the arch where the arch touches. So this is actually the bottom of the bridge at our perspective. And get just a touch of medium, help that move a little better. Now we're going to come on this side of the arch. So just a little bump right there and then back down to this bottom edge. Okay, there we go. All right, so that helps us get our shading, our underneath piece that's dark. The next thing that needs to be dark is underneath this arch right here. So again, from our perspective, we are seeing it in not much light. So I'm going to continue with my blend of Licorice and Prussian blue. Maybe just a tiny bit of medium to help it move. And we're going to come right under here where it meets the hill. And I'm sure there's footings under there, you just don't see them in this picture. And so you don't see them, you don't have to paint them. That's something that somebody taught me a long time ago, and I don't remember who it was, but it says, they said if you don't see it, don't paint it. So don't add things, structure especially. I know there's something there holding it, but I don't see it, so I'm not going to paint it. If I was an architect maybe or something, then I had to have it perfect, then maybe. There, and it just kind of disappears as it makes that curve. Under this side. And you're just going to have a little thin border of it from this perspective. Okay? And I feel like I need to bring this over to that wall. Okay. So now what I want to do is add in my bridge front, right, which is not a bright white. It's more of a grayish white because it's made out of concrete. So I'm going to use a larger brush. Let me grab, just for now, my 16 flat. And we're going to get some medium and some medium gray and a little bit of white, and work those together. All right, so I don't know what heavy paint on this, again, because it's in the background. So if we start out with just an off-white, maybe just a touch more gray, that's better for this. And then we add our uprights by putting in the dark spaces. And then we'll see where we are with that. I'm creating this along with you, so not anything I've painted before, and we'll see if this works. I feel like painting is a learning process. When you're creating, you try some things, they don't work, you try something else. A little bit of white. So these pieces right here, I'm going to put a little more strong white on one corner of my brush and emphasize these two larger structure pieces there. There we go. So I'm stroking down to make sure that any visible strokes and streaks, and it's actually not a bad idea to have some streaks, are in the same direction that the uprights would go. So if I come back through here, and now I can streak some white. See there? Oops, got a little too excited there. off. But leaving brush marks in this case is going to help me with that visual impression of those uprights. So let's do it, flicked it up this way. See there? Okay, now I'm going to get some stronger white, and I'm going to emphasize. Now that's not going to give me what I want. Actually, I think I want stronger gray. I want to emphasize these cross pieces. There we go. So chisel edge across, skip where that upright is, chisel edge this way, skip, chisel edge. All right, that sets that. So we're going to do the same thing on the bottom one. Chisel edge across, chisel edge across, and one more. So it needs to be a little bit darker than the upright sections. Okay, so this bridge is starting to come together. All right, now with these colors I still have on my brush, let me get just a touch of white, and I'm going to go ahead and put in these upward beams here on the bottom. You know what, I think I'm going to need a smaller brush to do that though. I'll just do these right now. Okay, so I'm going to clean that brush and I'm going to switch to a smaller flat. Let's go with our 6 flat. Okay, that'll help me get a better stroke here without struggling. Okay, so these have a Y at the top, like this. Oops, I need some white. There's a dark background here, so we need a little bit of white there. Remember, these are far away. You're just giving the impression of the structure, and then the upright piece right there. I'm going to grab just a little bit of the gray and tone that down. Back to our white. Right, and these have a Y. Right there. Right there. All right, and you want these to come, they're up underneath the bottom of the bridge, all right? So they actually come up a little higher than that. Don't make them curvy. Right there. There we go. And then there's one right here. I'm going to put that in gray for now. And we'll address its true color after we put the front wall rock in. Okay, so let's come back over here, and we've got, I'm not happy with how this looks. That's not how that looks. So let's take my brush here. Let's put some of this gray back in underneath. That's easy enough. I feel like it's too close. Let me get the black and blue. And we're going to go back over this. A little more Prussian. Okay. So let's come back to our gray and white. And we're going to move this over just a bit. A little more white. There we go. All right, I'm going to put this gray back in here too. So there we go. And then we'll come back to this and take that out. There. Okay, that looks more accurate. Does it have to be? No. That's just me. Okay, so here and here. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. So let's come back over to our left side. And we're going to get this piece. It's going to come up here, and then your Y is right there. So we'll put this back in place here. Okay, now in front of the water, we for sure want these to be visible because they're visible in the photo even though they're white. But we're going to have this Y here and then come down. Is it going to be absolutely the way the bridge looks? Probably not. That's okay. Okay. So at least we got something to work with now, and we can do refinement and touch-ups later. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to come back and address the front of this. So I'm going to come back to my white with gray, using this number 6 flat still, blend of white and gray, and we're going to come right through here. Right. So we have to give it a darker tint of gray in order for it to show up the way it does in the photograph. A little bit of medium. There we go. And then we'll hit it with some white highlight later. All right, wipe off that brush again, and we're going to come to our dark colors. Now I've got a little bit of black and some gray. And then I'm going to get my Prussian blue. All right, because we're not doing the shadow like it is under here. I want a little more gray. So it's almost like a Payne's gray. I don't have Payne's gray in this line of paints, but that's the color I'm kind of going for. All right, so right in here, you just touch and pull down. And then I might do one there. Hints of these uprights. Just make sure they're straight. And you can do one that goes all the way. Okay, so just don't get too wimpy with your stroke. You don't want them to be like a shadow. It's a gap. So this is a good way to do this where you're not having to be precise about the distance. You're giving the impression. There. Whoops. Apologize, my hand's getting in the way. Let's bring this over this way and then I can get my brush up straight. Okay, so not quite done yet, but this is going to give us a good start to that look, okay? Now, I'm going to wipe this brush off and I'm going to come pick up strong white, okay, and we're going to sweep up on this upright, on this upright, get some strong white, and in between these, you can start putting little bits of white to help that bridge have its character, okay? These are the uprights in between the gaps, right? So they're going to have light hitting them, and that gray behind is going to just be like shading, okay? So okay, so I think that's pretty good. I'm going to hit just a side load a little bit of medium gray, and I'm going to hit the top of this and down one side, the top of this and down one side, and oops, a little bit stronger. There we go. Okay, just to help those stand out a little bit. Come back with the white. And add some highlights along this arch here and along the top of the railing. And along the bottom trim. Okay, and I think we're getting there. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so that's our bridge. Now, before I go, I just want to get started with this wall, the wall that comes up and underneath here. Okay, and that's got a little bit of a green to it because it's starting to get more wet and things are growing there. So in the rock, I'm putting out some classic green, and I'm going to get a little bit of darker green, which would be, well, actually, no, I'm going to use my Prussian blue. So I have my little 1/2-inch mop here, and I'm going to load that up with classic green. And then I'm going to tap into a little bit of the Prussian just to darken one half of it, okay? All right, so underneath this bridge, right here, right, we're going to tap in some of this green. And you know what? I got to use a flat because I can't get under there with this, or I'll go over my uprights. So let's just come right in here with that. I want it to have texture a little bit. Okay, so I'll show you what I'm going to do about that. Right there. And then right up here also. And while I have it, actually I think I'm okay on that side. All right, so I'm going to come in with just the corner of this and tap with that blue into my green. And then I can take my clean number 6 flat and take out any overrun that I have on this upright here. Okay, because I want it to look a little bit like foliage. Now, I'm going to come right in here. The bridge comes from behind this rock outcropping here and goes across the river, so you don't see the actual opening of it right there. I'm going to get a little more dark blue up in this area and just leave the edge rough like that. We're going to add a lot more detail onto this once we get this kind of under painted. So leave the blue for darker and the lighter green for the lighter color. Go around the edge. There we go. So see how I left some dark shade areas in there, right in there. And then the light green around it, dark in there, and then come right through here. Get the blue, and we're going to go dark under there and tap it out as it comes down to the waterfall there. Okay, so at this point then I'm going to go on the other side and do a similar sort of thing. This is coming all the way through here. So I've got my blue on the left side. And I think I'm going to put some of that right in here. Come up and in front of the bridge and down a little bit stronger, and in front of the arch right there. All right, so then we come up here and we start to build our light and dark areas. And don't forget the edges. All right, so we want to come right up here. Oops, sorry. I can't see it and neither can you. There we go. And on this side. Not too many people look at the tops of paintings, but just in case. Okay, so you're just tapping this foliage in here with the dark blue and the classic green. And then you can darken some areas with more blue. And just kind of fill this in, right? Again, it's mostly underpainting. We're going to come and add some lighter colors, but we need that dark in there to see the light, so. Okay, so I'm going to come down to where this starts to merge with the waterfall in the front. Right about there, leave that rough. And same thing on this side, just right about here. And a little more of that dark. Let's get just a touch of this black, maybe that'll do. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so that's our stopping point for today, and be sure to come back next time and work on this some more with me as we start to complete the foreground waterfall and the rock walls and pool below. Okay, so there you go. There's our bridge. See you next time.